Hi, I'm Reed Carr, President and CEO of Red Door Interactive, and we're here to help senior level marketers think a little bit differently about this new era of marketing. We like to look for interesting ideas in unexpected places to leverage the power of this new era of marketing. Today we're joined by an international icon who's well known in sports and entertainment, but he's also one of the early pioneers in social media marketing. He's somebody who's created an international brand, he's taken advantage of wonderful opportunities, and has developed a very loyal fan base. I like to think of him as the original tweeter, but you might think of him as the world famous San Diego Chicken. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Reed.
Now, you've performed in front of some top tier sports audiences, some presidents, entertainers such as Paul McCartney in a show-stopping incident with Elvis Presley, Ronald Reagan. It's hard to think of you as just a mascot. Would you characterize who you are?
Well, Reed, I kind of fashion myself more as a visual comic, an entertainer at large in that regard. And, not so much as a mascot, although I am wearing a costume. But, when you think of yourself as I do, like a fuzzy Harpo Marx, I just think of it as a more elaborate form of makeup.
So basically, kind of behind this, the costume, you actually become more exposed?
Yes, that's a good point. I like that analogy, Reed. That's a very good point. You're opening yourself up by literally dressing up.
What would you say are some of the key principles of your act? What do the fans react positively to?
Basically, when I'm out there performing, Reed, I try to be not a human being dressed up as a chicken, but a chicken trying to act as a human being. A bit of a distinction there in the fact that it might be a fine line, but it's a cartoon come to life in essence.
So, do people have to warm up to this? How do you warm up a cold audience?
If you provide energy, if you provide good faith through body language, it's a very accepting measure to an audience, and it's hard to take their eyes off of you. That's what I'm told. That's the feedback I get. And so as I'm performing out there, they don't have to look. But when people are responding, laughing, it'll draw a lot of attention like a magnet towards you. And you keep that energy. Reed, it's interesting to note that when I'm performing out there, I tap into the energy of the audience. But I've got to be the first to give that energy. And once they reciprocate, then we've got quite a bonding going between us.
All right. So you get that response basically by giving what you do and giving 110% all the time.
That's right. In other words, you keep trying and you keep going for it, and it's really fast how they'll respond and warm up to you. I found it personally quite easy. Again, being a visual entertainer, you really lead with your energy and you're reaching out to them. And again, everybody loves a cartoon. We all grew up on cartoons as kids, and people tell me that it's the inner child talking to them when I'm performing, and they're able to relate to what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's so interesting. You look at social media, if you think about that's behind a facade to some degree, kind of what you're doing there, but then you have to get out there and start engaging the people to help them really respond.
We live in an era now where everyone's kind of guarded, and close to themselves. But here, in suiting up like this, you're giving out and you're making the first move, and you're trying. You're taking the risk. You are putting it all out there. You're saying, here is who I am.
And so over the 30 years, how do you keep it from getting stale or canned?
Well, I have quite a passion for what I do, Reed. I love what I do immensely and intensely. And out there performing, to hear the fans laughing at my creativity, at my baby, basically, laughing at my own jokes, it's got to be an inspiration. I got to tell you, a sense of humor never has a shelf life. It really doesn't. And I look at it this way. I'm appealing to every age demographic that there is. There's the toddler. There's the high school kid. There's the college kid. There are the parents. There are the seniors. They all count. They all matter. And so if I'm out there performing and they're laughing at the jokes, it's I got to tell you, laughter is the currency of any comic. And when you tap into that pure energy, it really revitalizes you. And for me, I tell you, it's a personal motivation.
So you find inspiration from within, from those around you in the audiences. Is there anywhere else you tap into some inspiration? Maybe other competitors out there in some respects?
I look at my inspiration coming from people who make me laugh. There are comedy movies, even even watching little toddlers, kids, anything that's humorous and kind of inspires me. Maybe a great song might inspire me. I try to take my fascination for comedy, merge it with my love of sports and other observations, and try to produce a unique act.
So, over time, you've had to innovate. You've, for example, back in the day, baseball stadiums used to do live organs, and now you were the one to introduce some of the recorded music. Especially with organizations that are steeped in such tradition. I mean, how do you help them make those changes to help you innovate?
I tried to introduce these new ideas by literally doing what was established to begin with, and showing confidence in what they were doing and how maybe like a team wanted it done. But then when you do that, they build confidence in you, and then you can make suggestions in return. And you ask them to reciprocate and say, trust me with this one, okay? We've done this, let's step a little bit off to the side. I think I've got an idea. And because you've won them over with good faith and executing of what they've asked, asking them to reciprocate, say, give me a chance on this, they will open a door for you. And then when you are able to introduce your vision through that door, then voila, you've opened up your vision to them, which might even be broader. And in that regard, then another plateau is achieved, and we move forward.
So you have the track record for success, and I think that it sounds like that really helps quite a bit. And I think one of the best examples of that was your grand hatching in 1979, when you got to be a free chicken, I guess, as they say, after the court battle that you had. So you were able to bring in 47,000 people to what traditionally was, I guess, around 17,000 or so showing up at the Padres games at the time, which is a huge victory. And so, how did you make that happen? I mean, that was a big win for you.
If I have to say so myself, Reed, that was one for the books. I got to tell you, it was a magical moment. Sports historians have called it one of the greatest promotions ever conceived, and we did it by the seat of our pants. Essentially, the Padres wanted me to come back to do this day back after I became like a free agent chicken, so to speak. But it was my idea to create a ceremony, to have a grand hatching, the rebirth. The new chicken has returned after I had just been fired by my radio station sponsors. So I thought of an idea of like, where do chickens come from? Well, an egg. Well, let's take it, let's cube the thing. Let's make it bigger than life. Let's have a hatching. And so created the styrofoam egg, and what I did, I promoted the thing like a wrestling match to get people out there. Now, let alone, it was good news, big news in San Diego that I had been fired, and it was front page effect that, what's the chicken gonna do now? So I decided when I come back, well, it's easy to tap in to all that interest that was out there. And so I create an elaborate ceremony, promote the thing like a wrestling match. Never say no to any microphone. Why? Because all these others have an interest. They all want to hear the story. Give it to them. Tell them. It helps. It helps the cause for everyone involved. And so I promoted the thing on radio, on television, in person. I would go around. The grand hatching coming Friday night, and more than 47,000 people turned out for that event. And it was quite a magical moment, hatching out of that gigantic styrofoam egg. And what was I doing, Reed? What was I doing? All I was providing is promising a sense of fun. I was selling sizzle. I was selling the sizzle and painting the imagination, painting the canvas with imagination. And people came out. And what the heck? I was promising them 3 hours of fun on a Friday night, and they came for that. The trick is to deliver. And when you deliver on that, then you build credibility, and then they follow you. They follow you from there. And it was a great moment. And so I sold the sizzle, delivered what I was talking about, and made it happen.
So I understand that you sign every autograph after every event. What are some of the other ways that you build fan loyalty?
Basically posing for photos and let alone signing the autographs, but being gregarious throughout the audience, letting them come to you. I mean, think about it, Reed. On one moment, I'm on the field cavorting with million-dollar ball players and baseball umpires, and in the next moment, I'm right there in the grandstands with the fans. So I literally jump from the stage into the audience. It's literally a mosh pit that I'm jumping into and staying with them, and then getting back up on stage. And that go-between, I think, creates a bonding with the audience, let alone in a tangible sense, but also in a in an imaginary sense, that the audience is with you, and you're basically carrying them out onto the field with you.
You're truly interactive, I guess, even more so than we're talking about sometimes in the online world.
It's all part of the same show.
Now, first you were affiliated with a radio station, which is broadcast media, and then you went out on your own. How do you now draw some of the fans in?
You know, to me, it's the element of touch. And that's a great bonding factor, especially. You can communicate a lot that way. You know, they'll tell 12 other people, let alone they might get an autograph or pose for a picture, but they'll tell 12 other people. And word of mouth is still the best form of advertising. I've always felt word of mouth always beats word of thumb. It's more personal, and it bonds more distinctly in the minds of others. Yeah. So believe me, I don't dismiss signing an autograph or posing for a photo, because it carries a lot of emotional bonding, and that's the element of touch. Comes right from the heart. It's a happy memory, and those do count.
Yeah. And you're still drawing them in from every demographic. I mean, you really span quite the career here.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's an only in America story, and I've been very fortunate. But you know what? All I do is lead with a sense of humor. And I ask people to follow or not to follow. But, you know, if you enjoy sense of humor, and I think we as a people have the greatest sense of humor of any people in the world, it's great. I try to communicate through body language, and they laugh through the universal language of laughter. That's how we communicate.
Well, very good. Your story is certainly a surprise for many, and you've certainly delighted us having you here with us today. I mean, I think it's an appropriate venue here in our Red Door Interactive San Diego downtown offices, and we got Petco Park here in the background with the Padres here play in and day out. So we really appreciate you being here with us.
I appreciate the kind thoughts.
Thank you,
big guy.
All right.
Good job. Sorry for the little chicken stick I did.